Hi there. Well, we're celebrating the end of the beginning of the fall and almost the end of the fall. It's all of a sudden kind of cold over here, but we're gonna soldier on, and we're still in the Syrah section, let's say. But this is in Australia, Shiraz, and this is by Leeuwin Estates, whom this place that we discussed before when we had their Cabernet not so long ago on International Cabernet Day. Beautiful estate in the southwestern corner of Australia that actually we visited, and I've been over this before, so I don't want to kind of keep repeating it. But just really beautiful place at the edge of the world, so to speak. And of course, in Australia, you associate Australia with Shiraz or Syrah, and so they really do quite well with that over there. Now, we've also discussed the styles of Shiraz in Australia, and some of the older style that was really the big, deep fruit bombs, like makers like Kessler and Two Hands, just an incredibly exuberant, almost 16% alcohol, just blowing up thing, which I love personally, but I know that tastes have evolved away from that a little bit, and now they're trying to do stuff that's a little bit more subtle, more complex. There's a place for everything. Anyway, let's see what this is. This is their art series label, so that sort of premium label. Although these things are not super expensive, it's I think 100% Syrah. It's hard to tell. This is 2014. But if sometimes it has a little bit of Malbec in it, like 1-2%, that's about it. And sometimes they put some stems in it to some extent, 10-20%. So it's hard to tell exactly what happened that year, but they are open to these kinds of adjustments. The color is really what you would expect, a sort of almost like a Rhone Syrah to be really dark purple, what I call thick, like a thick color. And the nose, on the nose, it's really, this is open. This has been open for a bit, as you can tell, but it does help with evolution. Right now, the nose is a little bit more nuanced. There's more of the camphor note to it, incense, camphor. There is the floral and sort of more on the violet and rose petal. A little bit of sweetness on the nose, which maybe is Australian, and not a lot of alcohol. This is not a high alcohol. This is coming back to the style. This is, I think, 13.5% alcohol. So, not really high alcohol. That part of Australia is sort of right on the water, just on the ocean. It's not really deep inland with incredible heat. And so then it's very interesting, and this has evolved. When we first opened it, it was much more fruity, much more sweet. It was like going to be one of those, oh, okay, this is an Australian wine. Now it really makes you think a little more. It's funny, it's really a little more tannic now than it was when it first opened, but very fine tannins, but you still feel it. It's sort of drying up your cheeks. There's good acidity, so it's kind of also a welcome development, and it does have a little bit of a pepperiness. It's tricky because I don't want to end up sort of in the lexicon of Cornas or the Northern Rhone in terms of trying to compare everything to that. I mean, it is to me really the sort of top accomplishment of Syrah is, but that doesn't mean that is really what everything should be compared to, because you can like a lot of different things in different contexts. And this is sort of an interesting case in point, because it's a little bit more supple, a little bit more gentle. It doesn't have the sort of this animal, wild side of Cornas, but it's not necessarily sort of a fruit bomb either. It's got an interesting they've managed an interesting blend of the floral aspect, some of the sort of savories, just a little bit, not a lot, a little bit of that tapenade feel, you know, enough acidity. It's just really a very nice Syrah that at first I thought was going to be a little bit too simple, maybe too gentle, as I said, but over the next couple of days developed more layers, more complexity. Really a terrific wine for the price. Maybe it doesn't necessarily associate just itself with Australia in your mind, but to me it really fits that place, specifically in the wind-torn sort of corner of Southwest Australia, dry, right on the ocean, warm but cold at night, that sort of imagine. So it's kind of an interesting association in my mind, and really, really nice bottle. Cheers, and see you soon.